The endgame version of this build can stir up quite a bit of chaos all over Sanctuary, and even handle Ubers quite well and is arguably one of the top builds to be able to use to get a torch. It's unfortunate that many overlook this build unless it is built for endgame use. However, the budget version can still be very viable and just as much fun to play. In today's video, I'm going to go over the build for the Budget Fury Druid, a build that has all of what you need to be able to handle farming or leveling all over the game without much issue, all while not being very expensive to build out. I'm going to go over the attributes, the skill tree, the gear for my character and my mercenary, and afterwards I'm going to show you guys some gameplay so you could see this build in action. But do keep in mind that when it comes to this build, there are different ways you can be able to gear the character depending on your needs, whether you're trying to go for maximum DPS, you're trying to do a magifying character, or a hybrid of the two. Just keep in mind when it comes to looking at the gear choices that I'm going to be choosing, that you can choose alternative gear depending on the demand that you have for your build. Before we actually get into the build, the comment shout out for this video is going to be, says Hormaru, whom enjoyed my beginner's guide on the Amazon skill, the Valkyrie. I'm stoked that you liked the video, and hope you'll enjoy having her aid you as you farm all over the game for GG gear. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. For the attributes, I have enough strength and dexterity to be able to equip my gear. I added a few additional points to be able to swap gear around as I'm going to pre-buff with this character before setting him loose around Sanctuary, but the remaining points go into Vitality. For the skill trees, there's nothing invested in the Elemental skill tree. In the Summoning skill tree, I have maxed out Heart of the Wolverine for more damage, as with using Feral Rage for Life Leech, survivability shouldn't be an issue for this build. Lastly, for the Shapeshifting skill tree, I have maxed out Werewolf, maxed out Feral Rage as it acts similarly to the Barb's Frenzy as far as movement speed, but it also has Life Leech. Then 1 point into Rabies to then max out Fury, the main skill to be able to deal damage and what this build is centered around. Then the remaining skill points went into Lycanthropy, as the difference in its skill points when compared to the ones that are maxed out is only 2 points. So in comparison to the skills that were maxed out, to not have this one maxed out and have slightly less health isn't a deal breaker as I continue to level up this character. Now for the gear, do understand that this build is centered around being budget, and some items being used are quite budget on purpose to be able to show the true power of this character, even with arguably not optimal gear. But you can always upgrade the gear as you're farming around the game to be able to increase your damage, increase survivability, and make yourself even more of a tank. The helm is an alpha helm with +1 to both Heart of the Wolverine and Fury, socketed with a Rao rune, Ort rune, and Thul rune for 30% to all resistances aside from poison. But the better alternative would be Jalal's main for the plus to shapeshifting, resistances, attack rating, and everything else that it provides benefiting being a shapeshifter werewolf. The amulet is Saracen's chance for the boosted attributes and resistances. However, if you want to focus on increasing your attack rating, you can use the Angelic Amulet and Ring combo for over 1000 additional attack rating to be able to help your hits land more often. The body armor is Hustle for the large boost to faster run walk, big boost to IAS, faster hit recovery, small all-res boost, and having evade is really nice to help not get hit as often. The weapon is an up Ribcracker socketed with a shell rune for the large boost to IAS, big boost to faster hit recovery, enhanced damage, and the 50% crushing blow. The boots are Gore Riders for the faster run walk, crushing blow, and deadly strike. The first ring is a dual leech ring with cold res. The belt is String of Ears for the life leech and physical damage reduction. The second ring is Ravenfrost for the attack rating and cannot be frozen. I'm using a pair of crafted blood gloves for the IAS, crushing blow, and dual leech. On switch, I'm going to be using Harmony for the Vigor Aura to be able to move around faster. One of the priorities for this build, aside from survivability and damage, is also getting around faster, which is why I'm going to be using Hustle over a great alternative such as Treachery as the main body armor. But I will be pre-buffing Treachery for the Fade proc before switching gear. However, for fairness, I'll show example gameplay without item swapping to be able to show how well it still plays out. In the inventory is my cube, both tomes. I'm using 2 shapeshifting skillers, one that has faster run walk, and the other one has life, and the small charms are all a mix of resistances and faster run walk. The reason that my inventory is not completely filled is to be able to have the items for after I pre-buff to be able to swap out after. This way I don't have to put anything in my cube, and I also don't have to always go to my stash to be able to store my items. And I'll still have space in my inventory and my cube in case I drop anything good. For the additional stats, he has 19% life leech, 7% mana leech, 130% IAS, 117% faster run walk, 70% faster hit recovery, and 75% crushing blow. For the Mercenary, this is where you'll have some options depending on either what you have on hand to be able to use, or what specifically you're prioritizing with this build. With my Act 2 Might Mercenary, I'm going the budget route and using Talisman for the life leech and resistances, Treachery for the Fade proc and IAS, and the weapon is a non-eth obedience. Hold on, hear me out on this.
Look here! Look, listen!
It's non-ethereal, so that way I can actually use it first. As with the time that I'll be using to pre-buff Treachery, I'll be using Obedience myself to get the enchant proc to go off, and once it procs, I'll give it back to my Mercenary and switch to Ribcracker. Now, if you want to go more of a safer route with slowing enemies down, and I do understand why some would not see this as budget, but you can give your Act 2 Mercenary Reaper's Toll. This way your Mercenary would be able to provide crowd control for you, and also have to deal with the physical resistance issue that you'd have with this build. Or, if you consider Reaper's Toll to be too expensive for budget builds, there's always the Act 5 Mercenary with the same helm and armor, but using Lawbringer for the Decrepify proc, and his other weapon would be completely your choice. Now, this build realistically doesn't really need a Mercenary, it actually handles itself quite well, and again, I'll show him with no item swapping or Mercenary after showing the pre-buff run for those who don't mind doing so with their builds. Now that we've discussed the attributes, the skill trees, the gear for my character and my Mercenary, let's go ahead and check out this build in action to see how well it actually plays out. Here's how the pre-buffing will go. Using Treachery and Obedience, find an area with high monster density, then get both of them to proc. The enchant proc usually goes off first, and once both are active, give your Mercenary Obedience, switch to Hustle, and run around and destroy everything in your path. With Heart of the Wolverine active, you'll have over 5k damage at the max. So this build, despite being budget, can handle areas really well without much of an issue. Just make sure that you switch between Harmony and your main hand to be able to get around easier. And you'll be running around quite quickly with the Vigor Aura and Hustle combo. Now with this last run, I'm not going to use a Mercenary, and I'm going to use Obedience and Treachery to keep the pre-buff items on my character, as they are the first things I'd equip before I start a run. And the setup now will ensure that his attack rating is always as high as it can be. While running around, do make sure to keep your Feral Rage charged up to be able to get more life leech back and move around much faster. And a few hits in between mobs to keep it charged up is more than enough to keep it active as you kill everything you run into. This is a very fun build to play, and for a melee build, especially a budgeted one, it's got so many of the better aspects of the game. Good survivability, good damage, it's safe to play as you technically cannot die in shapeshifting form because as you would be about to die, it'll turn you back into a human with 1 health point left. And overall goes very underrated as a build that many seem to pass on trying out. With how good the budget build is, for those who enjoy it and want to see the greater potential of this build, check out my endgame version of this Fury Druid that 1 or 2 shots damn near everything it comes across, and even can be used against the Ubers. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to see if this build would be something that you would be interested in going into the future, and if anything, at least just enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out.
Come on. Come on. Come on then. There you are. There you are.
And if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like. It really is appreciated to be able to help my channel to grow. And if you want to see more of my Diablo 2 Resurrected content, make sure to click the card in the corner up above to check out my Diablo 2 Resurrected playlist with a lot of videos already in it, with a lot more coming in the very near future. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.